Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I said that they've lost the plot. He doesn't seem to understand what he's talking about. He asked me in the question, what was the question again? Whether government was consulted. And I said, yes, the government was consulted. But if he wants a longer response, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that collaboration and transparency have always been the strongest pillars of my government's policies, which are supported through constructive stakeholder engagements and good governance. I was curious, therefore, Mr. Speaker, whether the honourable member had an understanding of both the process and the appropriate authority responsible to regulate prices for basic food items, including sugar. They have not put in their submission in this review. There's a whole lot of talk from National Federation Party about this, but they haven't done their bit. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary, Mr. Speaker.
You have the floor. You have the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Prime Minister was wondering to unnecessary conjectures, but let me ask him, as part of the consultation, is he aware that the FSC also intends to have only one meal in the Western Division? And the reason they're giving is because they need to generate more income, and that's why they ask for an increase in price.
Irrelevant question.
Sugar, the first question.
Prime Minister, you have the floor. Huh? You have the floor.
We're talking about the sugar price, but let me educate Mr. Biman Prasad a bit, Mr. Speaker. It seems he's confusing himself with the roles of the Ministry of Sugar, Industry and Fiji Competition and Consumer Commission, the FCC, and Fiji Sugar Corporation in this context. Let me inform him and Honorable Tikondondua, Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Sugar is not the responsible authority to regulate price of any item including sugar, whether the proposed price increases are 1%, 20%, or 100%, or even 200%, for that matter. Neither can it influence the body mandated to do so. That role is vested only to the FCCC as the primary regulator that provides the services as independent institution. The FCCC, Mr. Speaker, is an independent statutory body established under Section 7 of the Fijian Competition and Consumer Commission Act 2010 that promotes effective competition in informed markets, encourages fair trading, and protects consumers and businesses from restrictive practices, and controls prices of regulated industries and other markets where competition is lessened or limited. These functions, Mr. Speaker, are evidently important in setting prices for multiple industries to fix a balance between affordability and equitable returns. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, for the information of these two, the Ministry is also not the sugar manufacturer, neither the watchdog, to intrude into operational matters of sugar industry institutions.
That's FSC submission.
Shush.
That's the submission FSC made.
Including that of the FSC and FCCC.
Prime Minister.
It's a limited liability company.
Mr. Speaker, for the information of NFP, especially Mr. Biman Prasad and Honorable Tikondondua, all industry institutions have its own board to oversee the affairs and overall operations of the institution, led by chairpersons and board directors who function through the chief executive officers to provide leadership to the company and deliver shareholders its long-term values. In this case, Mr. Speaker, the proposal submitted to the FCCC by FSC is an operational matter, and FSC has done the right thing to take its proposal to the FCCC for price review, like any other company would do so, whether it's a state-owned company or private-owned entity. The Ministry of Sugar Industry is a policy maker, Mr. Speaker, for the information of those two, and responsible for overseeing the affairs of the sugar industry. Given this role, let me ask the honourable member, these two honourable members from the National Federation Party, why would there be a need for FSC to discuss the percentage of price increase with the Ministry of Sugar Industry and not directly with FCCC? Members of NFP, Mr. Speaker, keep on talking about good governance. I want to ask him whether he understands the principles of good governance, especially Honorable Biman Prasad and University.
We do. Does he want better than you, Prime Minister?
Does he want the ministry as a government body to interfere in the affairs and operational matters of FSC?
Government
is this not a gross breach of good governance?
Shareholder.
Isn't he aware that FSC is a company with its own board, governance structure, and operates under the Companies Act and Articles of Association, where the board is responsible for decision-making and provides strategic direction to the company? Are they implying that FSC's able board is incompetent and Ministry of Sugar Industry should be consulted first before any such independent decisions are made? Mr. Speaker, this is not only ignorance, but they are questioning the role of FSC board and its management. In fact, it is useless for them to bring this question to Parliament in the first place. They should go educate themselves on the processes of FCCC, an authority which will decide on whether and how much should be the price of sugar. I'm obviously aware of the processes of FCCC and the approach it has taken before deciding on the price change of any item. The key process are, of course, consultations with all relevant stakeholders, and Ministry of Sugar Industry will obviously be part of the consultation process, similarly as any other individual organization. On 14th July, Mr. Speaker, FCCC had put out a press release inviting members to the public to actively participate in the sugar price review by providing their views, their comments, and their suggestions. Subsequently, on 15th July, government ministries, including Ministry of Sugar Industry, were invited to comment and make suggestions on the FSC's price proposal. Furthermore, FCCC has made available a non-confidential version of FSC submission on its website, social media pages, and newspapers requesting public feedback. Here is the submission for sugar price review by the FSC. Honourable Speaker, I have also gathered that FCCC has requested submissions from a range of other non-sugar stakeholders, including the members from the other side of the House. It is said to inform this august House that no submissions have been made till to date by NFP, no Honourable Pio, and Honourable Biman Prasad, at least as sugar consumers. But this is not something new. This is not something new. On several previous occasions as well, Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Sugar Industry had requested inputs from stakeholders on sugar industry policies. Yet, not a single contribution has been made
for a sugar
from NFP, shush,
2015,
who are
Prime
continuously
Minister,
singing the same old song
you
and
refuse to form
misleading
the
the public
parliamentary committee.
with their lies and promises to turn around the sugar industry. Mr. Speaker, obviously they don't care about the growers nor the welfare of sugar consumers. If they were really concerned, they would have sent their inputs and at least produced some facts as to why the domestic sugar price should remain unchanged. Again, they have started making noise, as they did most recently, through a failed campaign to boycott sugarcane harvesting. Let me ask, Mr. Speaker,
never said boycott.
Did they ever jump so high
to you
when there are proposals for price increase for any other basic food items? No, never. There is nothing valuable from them but just another attempt to gain political mileage. We cannot expect anything from them, including FSC's proposal on sugar price. Mr. Speaker, the last review of sugar prices in the domestic market was done in 2017. While the domestic sugar prices remained, the factory maintenance cost, particularly labor cost, price of parts and equipment for the factory, have significantly increased over the past years. It was further heightened by the outbreak of pandemic due to high freight costs. To improve mill efficiency and optimize grower and FCC revenue, significant target investment is needed in the mills. Therefore, it may be appropriate to relook at FCC's cash flow and investment requirements in mills. Also, not forgetting the fact that sugar intakes is the major contributor to NCDs, which is the biggest killer in Fiji, killing thousands of Fijians each year. I want to allude again, Mr. Speaker, that sugar price review will not be done by the Ministry of Sugar Industry, but the FCCC as the responsible body. Therefore, we must let the FCCC carry out its due process to make decisions on any price changes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.